Arabia, 636. A commander known as the Sword of God faces the Byzantine Empire, one of the most powerful military forces on earth. With an army a fraction of its size, equipped with a fraction of its resources, operating at the end of supply lines the Byzantines would have considered impossible. He was never defeated, not once, in over 100 engagements. His name was Khalid ibn al-Walid, and everything he accomplished with less. Khalid did not have the luxury of superior equipment. The armies he commanded were lighter, faster, and more mobile than their opponents, not by choice, but by necessity. What he had was three things that no amount of resources can purchase directly: intimate knowledge of his own capabilities, precise understanding of his opponent's weaknesses, and the discipline to exploit the gap between them, without hesitation. He understood that a smaller force with perfect execution will consistently defeat a larger force with imperfect execution. The resource disadvantage was real. It was not decisive. Every shooter who has stood next to a competitor with a setup that costs 3 times their own and then outshot them understands Khalid's principle from the inside. The premium scope does not eliminate parallax error caused by inconsistent cheek weld. The high-end compound bow does not fix a collapse in the shot process. The $2,000 airsoft rifle does not compensate for a player who hasn't drilled their reloads. Equipment closes gaps that skill leaves open. But skill applied to modest equipment consistently outperforms equipment applied to underdeveloped skill. The archer shooting a mid-range compound with dialed-in form, consistent anchor, and a repeatable release will outgroup the archer shooting a premium setup with an inconsistent process every time. This is not an argument against quality gear. Quality gear matters. It removes variables, increases consistency, and raises the ceiling of what is achievable. But the ceiling only matters if you have already built the floor. The competitor who invests in skill before equipment, who masters the fundamentals on a modest setup before upgrading, is building in the correct order. They are Khalid, operating with what is available, developing mastery that does not depend on resources they don't yet have. And when the better equipment does arrive, they will extract more from it than someone who bought the equipment before they had the skill to use it. Khalid ibn al-Walid also demonstrated something that is uncomfortable but important to understand. Familiarity with your equipment under adverse conditions is worth more than familiarity with better equipment under ideal conditions. The shooter who knows exactly how their rifle behaves in cold weather, in poor light, after fatigue, at distance, who has introduced every variable their equipment will face in competition and has resolved each one, is better prepared than the shooter who has only experienced their premium setup in optimal range conditions. Know what you have. Know it completely. Know its limits, and know how to work within them. That knowledge is not a consolation prize for not having better gear. It is the foundation that better gear will be built on. Khalid ibn al-Walid, Arabia, 632, still winning with less.